the editor's cut, we're talking about cement companies because some of the, actually, I would say 3/4 of the cement company stocks have seen quite a bit of a crack in 2024 so far, and that should be on your screen. Let's pull up that graphic right now. The likes of Ramco, the likes of India Cement, Shree Cement, even Ultratech Cement losing about 7.7%. Of course, a lot of that action, I was looking at yesterday's price action, Niraj, and quite a few of these have lost ground yesterday as well. But I was looking at a few reports just to hopefully set you up for this conversation.
Yeah, sorry, just one correction there. So, viewers, what you're seeing is that the top 4 stocks are actually down in trade. Ambuja and Star Cement are the only ones which have gained in trade. So most of the cement stocks actually have a negative performance YTD.
Yes, and Ultratech Cement is down 7.7% as well. That graphic was incorrect. But while trying to set this up for you, I was looking at the projection for Q4, and while volumes are not expected to dip, there's expected to be an increase in volumes. Pricing seems to be the big concern, Niraj.
Yeah, so, you know, we're borrowing this partly from the dealer checks that both Investec and Nomura have done, right? And we watch out for these dealer checks happening every month. So Pan-India prices for the month of February, Alex, declined by about 9 rupees per bag month on month versus Q3 FY24. Now, 9 is a fairly large number for what usually is a busy construction season or the start of the busy construction season, because in the head up to the monsoon, you expect these activities to be high, post-festive season activities to be high, people have come back, etc. The Pan-India prices, in fact, have seen continuous declines. From October 2023, the spot prices are now 8% lower from that peak, October 23 peak. So that is an issue that we have, that cement prices, no matter what companies may be trying to do, are not seeing an uptick.
Yes.
And you rightly said that if one looks at what is in store for the month of March, right, as per both the notes, as per the Nomura note, prices in March have moderated further by 6 rupees per bag, and Investec says that mills have not indicated any kind of price hikes for the month of March. So price hikes are out of the window. Now, the question is, do you see volume growth being so strong enough that it compensates for prices being lower, because revenues would be a factor of volumes into prices. And when we are not seeing pricing do well, if volumes are also not growing at the pace that one would like them to, is there a case for cement to be constructive? Never mind the fact that we believe that it is a great sector for the long run. In the short term, are there issues at hand?
So the reports that I was reading, there was one by IDBI Capital that was projecting this post the Q3 results and looking into Q4, 8 to 10% was the volume growth that was projected for the industry. And one would assume that, and this is, of course, you know, accounting for everybody, but you're talking about a significant increase year on year in the fourth quarter, but the EBITDA is likely to shrink based on the prices.
Yeah.
So I guess to a certain extent, there could be impact on the bottom line in the short term, but then the top line growth is there.
You know, the confusing thing, Alex, is that for some companies which have gotten efficiencies back into play, like a case in point being the Ambuja ACC duo, and standard disclosure, they are owned by the Adani Group, and the Adani Group owns NDTV, but that doesn't matter really. ACC Ambuja have guided to EBITDA per ton inching up. Now, that could be the case because those companies are now feeding on the efficiencies that come in from all the related infrastructure efficiencies that the group brings to the table. So that may be an isolated case. But for most companies who are talking about, let's see what happens in quarter 4, and a significant EBITDA uptick or EBITDA per ton uptick seems so difficult to clock in at a point of time when you're not seeing prices go up. Because remember, Q3, commodity prices or input costs softened quite materially, right?
Yes.
So you could see some of those benefits come in selectively in metal companies, in cement companies, etc. Now they haven't gone further down from those levels. If anything, select commodities have inched up just ever so marginally. But if cement prices are coming down, then how is it that you see the EBITDA uptick? So that might be a question mark. Quarter on quarter. I don't know about the YOY numbers, excuse me for that, but quarter on quarter, it might be difficult to predict that for sure.
Last question from my end, and perhaps I'm sure a lot of the viewers are also wondering this based on the price movement that we showcased at the start. those last two companies that have moved up quite significantly, I believe one was up as
Ambuja
much
and
as 16, Star, and Star is up 16%.
Yeah, again, the East India activity, very, very pronounced there. We know the kind of infrastructure development happening out there, so that could be one factor out there for Star Cement. For Ambuja, like I said, efficiencies coming into play. It wasn't trading at the kind of numbers that, let's say, for example, Shree Cement on EBITDA per ton was all through this day in Wholesome. So that is one. But while you didn't ask that, Alex, just one quick word before we wrap up. Yeah, what's in store in March? That's the other thing, right? So dealers had indicated demand was muted in Feb 24. Don't foresee too much of an uptick in March. That's part one. Labor shortages could be a big thing in March. Ramzan, Mahashivratri, Holi.
Right.
All impact worker availability, maybe production, maybe dispatches, maybe a combination of both. So that's the second piece. And slowing activity this year in particular because of the Achar Sanhita or the election code of conduct. So if that comes into play and the government spend and activity and infrastructure is a bit muted, then what you would have on a YY basis, you might have an issue out there too.
Absolutely. All right. On that note, that brings us to the end of this particular edition of Editor's Cut.